Hey there, Tim O'Keefe here, Spider Juice Technologies. I'm going to reveal to you today my biggest secret for creating content. First, I want to welcome you to Tim's Treehouse. Actually, it's the treehouse at Wilson Park, California, Torrance, California. And every once in a while, if you're lucky, you get to see a little visitor of usually a very overfed squirrel that'll come for more feeding. What I want to talk about today is the idea of novelty. Novelty, some say, is the spice of life. It is also what makes for great content. If you're always saying the same thing over and over again, if you stand still in a video with a static background, things tend to get boring, which is why I move. You'll often see that even in stills where you'll have the video author actually being moved through editing because he's in the same spot, and they'll move him over to the left or to the right with some sort of swipe. A good example, and what kind of gave me the motivation for this video, was last night my son asked me about when I coached and how I would say certain things, and he says this one teacher he has who's a coach sounds the same way. He says many of the same things that I said, but he said it always seems like he's yelling. And I said, well, I yelled. He goes, not all the time. I go, exactly. I changed it. I was novel. One of the greatest compliments that one of my coaches gave one time was, he says, man, there's like 7 personalities of you. And I said, at least. I told Nick, my son, I said, you know, when if I yelled, or if I spent a practice yelling a lot, then what I would do the next day was I'd be very, very quiet, very melancholy, very slow. So I learned through a friend, Jonathan Alfeld, who teaches hypnotic speaking and NLP, amongst other things. He pointed out something that was very interesting to me, and to this day sticks with me, and that is, in our speech we can alter only a few things, but the ways they combine are almost unlimited, and one is to raise our volume, lower your volume, raise your the speed of your talking, so you're talking much faster, or you're talking very slower, or you are I said louder, lower. What's the other one? I can't think of the other one, but you get the point. I've got a little pattern interrupt as I see a squirrel, 2 of them chasing each other. I don't know if you can see them in the background, but that's what I mean. They're all over the place here, and often they're looking for some scraps. So that's an example, and we could do that in all kinds of things. We can do that in our writing. You can write in a more of a harsher tone. Here's another guy. I don't know if you can see him. You can write in a harsher tone, a softer tone, right? You can change the way you write. You can write so it seems loud. It seems low volume. You can write so the cadence happens, right? Real short paragraphs. You can do all kinds of stuff like that, and you change you're changing the novelty. An example, and really where it gets deep, is there is a lady who is a relationship expert whose whole platform is about novelty, and her name is Esther Perel. Wrote a book called Mating in Captivity. Has another one, but if you care about your relationship, I highly recommend Mating in Captivity. It may be a little bit risque for you, I don't know, but the long and the short of it is at the beginning of a relationship, we tend to be more novel, and thus the relationship is more erotic, and relationships change in the name of intimacy and closeness, and you lose the novelty. And that's essentially her platform. Brilliant, and why I have adopted the idea of my wife also being a girlfriend, not just my wife, right? So how does it work in other ways? Well, weightlifting. If you have been around bodybuilding at all, way back in the day, everybody read Weider magazine. It's how Arnold Schwarzenegger got his start. And the whole idea, or the whole, I guess, platform that Joe Weider created was his principles. And if you read them, all they are is just changing ways that you lift. You add weight, you lower weight, you do supersets where you have no rest in between, et cetera, et cetera. So a real easy, quick way to think of this is when you're lifting weights, to do maybe 15 reps today, and then stack a lot of weight on and only able to do 5, right? Because the more weight, the less repetitions you can do. You can change the amount of time in between rest, right? You can rest for 30 or 60 seconds. You can rest for 3 minutes. Some of the guys I see rest more than they actually work out. But their mouth is talking, right? Their mouth is moving. But those are the ideas, you change, and the body has to react and has to grow to the new stress. And that's what happens in anything. I was reading a plastic surgeon magazine. Since I represent plastic surgeons, I read some of their stuff, and was talking about some sort of drug, or not drug, but some sort of thing that they stick in the skin to cause renewal inside of the skin. But they said after a few months you have to stop, because the body basically adjusts, and it I think the word is attenuates to the original to the extra influence, added influence. Where that made a lot of sense to me, and I never did this, so I'm not, and I don't advocate it, but I knew a lot of guys that did steroids. I played football in the gym a lot over the years, and so I started to learn about this stuff. And one of the things that happens to some guys, and I had some football friends this happened to, they grew breasts, and the reason they did was because their body stopped making testosterone, and because the body basically says, why should I make this anymore? I don't need to. And so essentially again, if I'm misusing this word, please forgive me, but I think I got it from the old days in the bodybuilding world with the steroid use of guys, and the body attenuates, and in other words, it adjusts to the artificial levels that are put in it. And in essence, it's the novelty that causes the bodybuilding. It's also the novelty that causes the body to adjust, which I think is a great metaphor to end on. And to give you a clue of what just happened also, hopefully I'm teaching on a number of levels. If I can go back to Jonathan's teaching of changing volume, changing cadence, tone, I think was the third one. I don't know if that's the right word he used. But, you should be going, well, duh. And, yeah, well, duh, but he's the one that pointed it out, so he's the one that owns it. And he's the one who will always have a piece of my brain, because he's the one that taught it. He's the one that pointed it out, and also how to use it. hypnotically. So anyway, Tim O'Keefe out, Spider Juice Technologies. Hope you enjoyed that.